morning, everyone. We remain standing for the playing of the national anthem of Jamaica. Much, and as you remain standing, and I now invite Sergeant Arlene McBean, Chairman of the Police Federation, to say prayers.
Can we just bow our heads? Almighty God, eternal Father, God of the land and the sea, Jehovah, Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Nisi, we come before your mighty throne of grace. We enter your gates with thanksgiving, and God, we come before your courts with praise. We want to thank you for another day, for the gift of life, for your love, for your abundant blessing. And God, as we are gathered here, mighty Jesus, we just want to thank you, God, for this occasion, this contract signing. But God, it could not be easy for this to reach to this level of transformative stage. And God, because that transformation is renewed, it has touched the length and breadth of the country. And God, each and every person standing here before you this morning, I pray you bless them exceedingly. I pray you bless them abundantly. God, I put each and every citizen of Jamaica before you. God, I pray you walk through each and every household. I pray for the children of this nation. I pray, God, that you will cover us under your blood, the blood that will never lose its power, the blood that reaches to the highest mountain and flows to the lowest valley. God, we pray for strength, and we pray, God, as this signing is about to take place, touch our leaders, touch each and every person, each and every partner, each and every stakeholder. Mighty God, let this be a success and replicated across the length and breadth of Jamaica, even a building for the Police Federation, I pray. Father God, cover us under your blood today and always. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Of course, God answers prayer. So, good morning, distinguished guests, fellow citizens, those joining us remotely. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this momentous occasion as we mark a significant milestone in the transformation journey of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Today, we gather to witness the signing of a contract between the government of Jamaica and West Indies Home Contractors, WICON, to build a state-of-the-art divisional headquarters in St. Catherine North Division, serving communities in Spanish Town and its environs. This project solidifies the government's continued support for improving the JCF's infrastructure, aligning with our Commissioner's vision to transform our people, quality, and technology. The construction of this new headquarters demonstrates the government's unwavering commitment to modernizing our law enforcement infrastructure and enhancing safety and security. We are honored to have joining us today Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, and Member of Parliament for St. Catherine Central, Honorable Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Minister of State in the Ministry of National Security, Ambassador Alistair Stone-Roof, Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of National Security, our Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake, and other senior members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Mr. Peter Meledo, Chairman, West Indies Home Contractors Limited, and other members of Wiccan Leadership Team, other specially invited guests, members of the media, good morning. So, Minister Chang, we have had the pleasure of collaborating on numerous projects over the past 6 years, including Project ROCK, Rebuild, Overall, Construct, which harmonizes with the JCF's PQT, People, Quality, and Technology Transformation. Most Honorable Prime Minister, this new police divisional headquarters will not only enhance the operational efficiency, but also boost the morale of our members as we collectively strive to create a safer Jamaica for all. So with that said, you have your program, and we will go through very quickly. So I now invite our first speaker, Mr. Peter Meledo, Chairman, West Indies Home Contractors, Wiccan, to bring greetings.
Thank you very much. The senior superintendent did such a good job of protocol that I'm going to have it as observed, but I must recognize the Honorable PM, Honorable Ministers of Government, other members of Parliament, public service members, the Commissioner is here as well, members of the JCF and other guests. And PM, I'm doing everything fast, including the construction, so we're going to move very quickly on this. But seriously, it is a privilege for us to be here today to bring greetings to this important undertaking that I believe will strengthen our security infrastructure and improve the lives of so many people in the parish of St. Catherine and environs. And I speak as Wiccan being a beneficiary, Honorable Prime Minister, because we're doing actually two major developments in the area. And I believe this project will have a significant kind of halo effect on the entire parish and beyond. So rest assured that we will apply our many years of construction experience to this task to ensure that we do justice to the striking aesthetic, and I think everybody can see the pictures here of the headquarters building. I almost would like to call it a campus more than a headquarters. It has that kind of campus feel. And I dare say this is really the first of its kind in the Caribbean. We have a number of members from the Wiccan team. They're charged with this awesome responsibility. We have our project manager here, Mr. Patrick Turner, and his supporting team. And Patrick is one of our most, if not probably our most experienced project manager. So we're throwing the kitchen sink at this one. So, but thank you again for the opportunity. We'll do our level best to make this fantastic dream a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And I note the point you said, that time, it will be done very quickly. So we now invite our next speaker, our transformational leader, Dr. Kevin Blake, Commissioner of Police.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. And I note the time constraints and the pace that has been already set. Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Honorable Olivia Babsy Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports, and Member of Parliament for the St. Catherine Central, Honorable Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, Minister of State in the Ministry of National Security, Ambassador Alistair Stone-Roof, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Mr. Peter Meledo, Chairman of the Wiccan Group, and other members of the Wiccan Leadership Team, Deputy Commissioners Warren Clark and Karina Powell-Hood, Assistant Commissioner Mrs. Jacqueline Greenscaife. And we have with us also Acting Assistant Commissioner, Mr. Christopher Phillips, and Commanding Officer for the St. Catherine North Police Division, Mr. Upton Nichols, Ms. Arlene McBean, Sergeant and Chairman of the Police Federation, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, it's a good morning. And so it's indeed a pleasure to be here at the contract signing ceremony for the new St. Catherine North Divisional Headquarters. We have been anxiously awaiting the commencement of this important project. And even though it took some time for us to get to this point, we are extremely happy that it is now being realized. This project and the major thrust in the renovating, overhauling, and constructing of over 160 of our facilities in the last 6 years is a true demonstration of the state's commitment to support the transformation and renewal of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We all recognize that a transformed and modern JCF is essential in tackling the challenges associated with ensuring public safety and citizen security. And as such, I would like to extend my gratitude to the Government of Jamaica, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of National Security, our contractors, consultants, and all stakeholders involved in bringing this project to fruition. The JCF deeply appreciates your effort and commitment. The St. Catherine North Divisional Headquarters project, with a budget of over $2.2 billion and spanning over 40,000 square feet, represents a substantial investment in the safety and security of our community. I'm aware that the necessary pre-construction activities have been completed, hence this contract signing ceremony, and it therefore gives me confidence that the project will be executed according to plan and within the expected time frame. And this project is a vital part of the government's Project ROC initiative launched 6 years ago, the objective of which is to rebuild, overhaul, and construct over 200 police facilities, converting all police stations into modern, citizen-friendly workspaces. This initiative aims to provide officers with a comfortable environment conducive to work while creating an ambiance for citizens to comfortably engage with the police. This new headquarters in the St. Catherine North Division is more than just a construction project. It is a tangible step in the ongoing transformation and modernization of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Our commitment to building fit-for-purpose stations is a cornerstone of our infrastructural transformation strategy. Recently, we saw the groundbreaking for a similar facility in Westmoreland and the opening of several state-of-the-art stations, such as the Olympic Garden Police Station. These developments underscore our dedication to enhancing our facilities to better serve our communities. And so while we acknowledge that all our needs cannot be addressed simultaneously, the approach is strategic and phased. We are consistently renovating, overhauling, and constructing facilities to meet the evolving demands of our communities. This headquarters will provide our officers with a modern and efficient workspace, enabling them to perform their duties more efficiently and enhance their engagement with the public. Today's contract signing marks a significant milestone in our journey towards a modern, responsive, and community-focused police force. As we move forward, we remain committed to our mission of serving and protecting the people of Jamaica with integrity, transparency, and professionalism. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you, and I look forward to delivering an address at the opening of the new headquarters in very short order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. So we are agreeing that PROC and PQT working to go towards a safer community. That sounds like a tagline. So we now invite Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister, and our Minister of... Oh, is this time thing, speed? Just hurrying up to get out of here. So back to the program. We now invite Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender and Entertainment and Sport, and Member of Parliament, Central St. Catherine.
Thank you so much. I must tell you, my glad back burst this morning, Prime Minister. Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Horace Chang, Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake, Mr. Peter Meledo. I also want to acknowledge my colleague minister, the Honorable Gillette Cuthbert Flynn, and Ambassador Roof, Permanent Secretary, Deputy Commissioners and Assistant Commissioners who are present here, leadership of the Ministry of National Security, with whom I've been working closely, leadership of the JCF, team from Wickon, and of course I must acknowledge Councillor Christopher Shackelford, new kid on the block. We call him Rasta. Stand up so you can be seen. Marketing executive and also a DJ. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I feel like every month I'm participating in a new multi-billion dollar investment somewhere in or directly beneficial to the people of Central St. Catherine. It is a good feeling. This morning, I'm happy to be part of this major undertaking in which we're making a bold, ambitious, beneficial, strategic, and impactful investment in the safety and security of not only the people of Central St. Catherine, but the more than 30 communities within the St. Catherine North Police Division. And if you were to look at the acronym for bold, ambitious, beneficial, strategic, and impactful, it's BABSI. So I speak for the people of Central St. Catherine when I say that we're proud to be the home of this new modern, fit-for-purpose police divisional headquarters. We expect that through this new facility, we will build on the successful strategies that have changed the security landscape in our communities. Where there was violence and lawlessness, there's now peace and growing optimism about the future. And I know that the leadership of St. Catherine North Police Division love to work with this Member of Parliament because I'm always available and I'm always there to make sure that communication is effective. All of us together, the residents, the people, the local and national leadership, and all other stakeholders have participated in the transformation of gritty communities into models of peace, safety, and security. But none of it happened overnight. I can tell you there was blood, sweat, and tears. But we are aware of the fragility of peace. What it took us so many years to achieve could all be lost in the blink of an eye unless we make the investment towards sustaining the peace and security of our people, which today's signing ceremony represents. So I welcome this development as the investment that it is towards lifting people and communities, not only in my constituency, not only in St. Catherine, but across Jamaica. I welcome it as part of our government, led by the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, deliberate focus on creating favorable conditions for our people to thrive. This investment will certainly enhance the resurgence that we are witnessing in Spanish Town and across St. Catherine as we continue to work towards prosperity for all. I'm like a scratch record to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, Spanish Town needs you. Spanish Town needs development, and we're moving in that direction. And I really want to express appreciation. As I said to the PM earlier, beside this fantastic development, fantastic building and complex, we have Torspen. And I'm hoping that one day the Torspen buildings will look just like the one we are now breaking ground to build. Right, DPM? And I must tell you, both headquarters, one in Westmoreland and the one in St. Catherine, on both occasions, I was sacrificed a little. In Westmoreland, where we have our JCDC offices, the land there, we had an arrangement. It so happened the design was made for the piece that should have been left for the JCDC. And in St. Catherine, I lost an acre to St. Catherine North. But you know what? It is for the good of the people. So I anticipate the commencement of the construction and pledge my support towards a successful execution of this development. We will work 24/7 with the team to see if possible it can be completed ahead of time frame. God bless you all and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We now invite Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, to address us.
Thank you, Siup. I want to recognize, of course, our Honorable Prime Minister and his colleague minister who just spoke, Ms. Grange from Spanish Town Central. Of course, my minister, Joy Cuthbert-Flynn, who is with me in this ministry. I guess she came to me because I'm an Olympian to deal with the challenges in these areas. Of course, my Permanent Secretary, Ambassador Stone Roof, Commissioner Kevin Blake, and the team from the High Command of the Police, Acting Deputy Commissioners, Ms. Karina Powell-Hood, Mr. Warren Clark, recognize our Chairman of the Police Federation, Ms. Arlene McBean, who gave us a good prayer this morning, an indication that of your many talents, ma'am. Other members of the Federation are present, of course, members of the Ministry's Planning and Development team, the contractor, head of the firm, Mr. Peter Menhedo, who is here to ensure we will establish in St. Catherine an iconic building for the Jamaica Conservative Force as the divisional headquarters. Senior officers, acting Assistant Commissioner Mr. Phillips, of course, and other members of the police force. Good morning to you. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I won't have gone through the entire team. I got Mr. Nicholson also of Northern St. Catherine. Mr. Nicholson, my apologies, I've recognized you here. I won't be long because I think all they hear this morning is to listen to my Prime Minister when I'm speaking before. I think I can avoid some of what I've been given to say here. But it's a pleasure to be here this morning. I think it's important that we did the signing here at the Prime Minister's office this morning. Not only that, under the Prime Minister here is from Spanish Town, and despite of Ms. Green trying to put in there, he's from Spanish Town, he's part of Spanish Town, and Spanish Town is part of him. So what will be done, it requires the Spanish Town to be done. But it's an important symbolic event because when I took this ministry, I was given certain charges by the Honorable Prime Minister. And then to remind the team that I came on the 1st of April, 2018, whatever symbolic that was. But the charge was definitely to not only improve public safety and good order, reduce the dramatic and increasing homicide rate in the country, but in fact to ensure we build out a highly professional police force in both numbers and infrastructure and what is required to provide the kind of service required to ensure that the police force can get their job done in reducing crime and ensuring public order. And I think we have reached a point where it is important to have a signing here because it reflects the government and this Prime Minister's commitment to achieving those goals. I think looking at the building and at the one we started, and Peter, there's a second one. And maybe you can catch up with him and complete at the same time. Yeah, both good contractors. I think at the time we took office, I think there's very little thought that been given. I think anyone have thought of the police of the government investing in a divisional headquarters of this character, either one in Salve or this. In fact, even the men and women of the force who have been fighting this battle for years, working hard, 24/7 out there, dealing with criminals, knowing they were short of equipment, knowing they were short of the supporting services, and I think listen to what the Prime Minister and myself had to say at the beginning, with some hope and some appreciation of what we were saying and that the need for all that we were speaking of. But I don't think many were at that time convinced that they would see this happening today. And I think doing it here, I said, reflects for me the commitment of the government and to demonstrate to the public the commitment of this government to ensuring that we provide the police with the required tools to get the job done. So we've not only improved the infrastructure in the transformation and to rebuild, overhaul, and construct, we have increased the size of the force, and all this come together to create at a point in time where I think we're at what I'd call a tipping point. We are moving in the right direction with the numbers, and I think the current team of officers will keep going that direction until we get to the kind of community that we wish to see restored in Jamaica. I commend them with the force, but I'd take this time to just basically remind how we got here, because St. Catherine Divisional Headquarters was one of the first places I went to. I don't think Mr. Griffiths was there. He was a senior superintendent. I don't think he's here with us this morning. He was retired in recent times, but I think that I've been very pleased to see what is happening this morning. I went to visit the station. Spanish Town has developed a reputation of high violence and gang activity, which the police have done significant work in reducing and in disrupting the gangs out there, and will have to continue doing the work there. But the office of the then senior superintendent was one in which I remember being led to it, and Mr. Griffiths had to bend to go into the door. And it was literally like a cubby hole in the corner of a building. Mr. Melhier would be familiar with the building. I don't think he built it for the senior officer, but it was putting together one of the older Wiccan styles housing many, many years ago, when he himself would have been quite young. In fact, he was born yet. It's an old building. It was when the family members started the Wiccan housing, the Matlon started, and they put together literally some homes to make a headquarters to the police. And it was not only embarrassing, but look, it was certainly inefficient to have the leader and manager of a team of 350 professional men and women in an era of high demand and a population of nearly 300,000 operating from this kind of a facility. And indeed, on return to the ministry, and we had started a discussion on the rebuild, overhaul, and construct. I then requested Mr. Delroy Williams, CTD, and Ms. Arlene Williams, who was head of the capital expenditure team, reporting Mr. Simpson, to begin to look at constructing a new station in Spanish Town. It took us a while to get here, partly because of the procurement process, partly too because the concept of building a police station of this character, in fact, even investing $2+ billion in such a facility was not part of the thinking of the system, literally. It was a new approach, novel approach, and to get the entire bureaucracy to move efficiently behind it took a little while. We are moving better now, but both stations, Savama, this has taken us, nearly 5 years to get to this point. So, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm carrying out your mission. The new headquarters is a 3-story building, which will have near 43,000 square foot of building for the team, and in fact, the size and the character of it has the police thinking that they may make it a divisional headquarters, but at this, as an area headquarters, but at this point, a divisional headquarters. And it also reflects, and I thought it was important to repeat this morning, the government's coming not only to give you quality facility, but among the changes in terms of, in the transformation of police force, that we build police stations. Every officer here, even the younger ones, know that there's a time when you look for a building, especially in rural area, you find an old building, former headquarters, former residence for the school principal, former pay station for the property, where Busher used to pay when the plantation was active. Some old building or abandoned building by the public works, because public works had buildings all over the island. and you just paint it in blue and white until it's a police station. And that was the nature of what characterized the police force I inherited. I had the instruction to start the process with the then Commissioner, Major General of Transformation and Development. We have pursued that line, and I will not say much more now except that we have got to a good point where I think it is clear. The government's commitment is clear. We have made commitment in terms of increase the size of the force, equipping them in all areas, and in building out an infrastructure that is suitable for the Jamaica Constabulary Force, which we expect is the best police force in this Caribbean region, and will get the job done in restoring public order and reducing the criminal violence that affects the country. Criminal violence. Violence is a broad subject, and I know the Prime Minister is focused on how we can, in fact, impact violence across the spectrum, but criminal violence is the response of the police force. They take it seriously, and we're going to get it done in the process. The work continues, but as I said this morning, we'll list to our Prime Minister. I look forward to a facility where officers and citizens alike can be proud of in St. Catherine. It is part of the overall development, which the PM the Prime Minister wishes to expand on, but a new hospital is coming. We expect a new clinic beside there. Ms. Green has been pressuring and agitating for in the land. But also, more significantly, is that the commercial players are looking at how to build out in the area around that particular point. There's a good connection point in St. Catherine. So it's really a pleasure for me this morning in this contract signing. They were opting for them to say more in the police. This is morning when the Prime Minister will, in fact, expand on this philosophy and said, as we sign this contract as a demonstration of the government, as the commitment of his government to really provide in this country with a professional, providing this quality support to the professional Jamaica Constabulary Force. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We look forward to signing. Snow.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, and for your commitment to building quality facilities for our members and the citizens, and to remind everyone here that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is undoubtedly the best police force in the Caribbean. We now invite to the podium Most Honourable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, to address us.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Lindsay, for your mastery of the ceremony. Allow me to acknowledge the Honourable Minister of National Security and the Honourable Minister of Gender, Entertainment, Culture and Sports, who is the Member of Parliament for the area that will largely benefit from this police station, the Honourable Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, who is the Minister of State in the Ministry of National Security, Ambassador Alison Stone-Roof, our Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Dr. Kevin Blake, our Commissioner of Police, Mr. Peter Melhedo, Chairman of the West Indies Home Contractors Limited, and other members of the WICON team, other specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. This is indeed a good morning for Jamaica. Today marks a significant step in the ongoing journey towards a safer, more secure Jamaica. And as we gather to sign this contract, we also bear in mind that there are several other projects of this nature, of this magnitude, which we have already signed contracts for. We are out of ground, and there are several other projects to come. It may be a question in the minds of some, why are we then making a ceremony of a contract signing when we are certain that we will also make a ceremony of the groundbreaking? And yes, we will make a ceremony of the opening. It's important because either deliberately or just by lack of knowledge, there would seem to be a disconnection between projects that are developed, projects that are implemented, projects that are completed, projects that are beneficial to the country, and the acts of the government. In other words, when the government does something good, there is no credit. In fact, there is sometimes, we see even articles written to dissociate the act of the government in developing the policy, making the allocation, carrying it through the administrative process, and having it finally executed. So these wonderful police stations that are being built right across Jamaica somehow has just miraculously happened without government. It didn't happen before with government. But it has happened with this government. And so it is important for government to inform the public of its activities. And one of the ways in which it does this is by having ceremonies. Now, we can't spend all our time in ceremony. We have to be quick about it. We mark the moment and move on, because a successful government marks a series of successful moments that accumulates to form the successful government. So I could go on and list all that we have done in terms of changing the face and nature of the JCF. And I'm certain that every Jamaican will appreciate that the JCF of today is not the same as the JCF of 10 years ago. The first time that there was ever any consideration of law enforcement in Jamaica was in 1716, where night watchmen were appointed to keep guard in Port Royal, of all places. Then in 1832, they started to have a formal establishment of a police force, but it wasn't a national police force. And then in 1867, the JCF was established as a national constabulary. The JCF is probably one of the oldest unbroken institutions in the country. It is an institution that we must be proud of. Yes. Granted, there is a school of thought which says that the JCF as a national constabulary was born out of a reaction to the 1865 rebellion led by our national hero, Paul Bogle. And in a sense, it was established to protect the colonial status quo. That may very well be so. But we all must acknowledge that no society can grow and prosper without established law and order. And the JCF is the first and the last bulwark in ensuring the rule of law and public order in Jamaica. There will always be questions about the social context in which the JCF operates. There will always be questions about the fairness, the respect for human rights, the application of the best practices? And these are legitimate questions. But it doesn't mean that we must dismiss the JCF. Because without the JCF, you're looking at chaos. So what we must all do as citizens of Jamaica is invest in the JCF. The men and women of the JCF were not imported. They were not recruited from abroad. They are from your communities. They go to your churches. You heard the prayer? They tell and share our stories. And every day, they put their lives on the line for your safety and security. And at this moment, I take the opportunity to offer my deep and sincere condolences to the officer who lost his life in a really bizarre incident at the Halfway Tree police station. The JCF is our police force, and that is where the government policy started. When we took office in 2016, massive debate about security and what we need to do with the police force. We had gone through at least 2 decades of trying to transform the police force. There have been several modalities of transformation, schemes and strategies for transformation, to include the importation of officers to have a demonstration effect on the leadership of the police force, to trying to get the police force to do more community policing. There are all kinds of strategies that have been employed to transform the JCF. Some have worked, some have not. And what we decided to do is not to go and reinvent the wheel. We saw what the challenges were. The first challenge was that you could not place the entirety of national security wholly and solely on the JCF's shoulder. So you had to have a broader plan, and we developed Plan Secure Jamaica, of which the JCF plays a very important role. So we looked at security in a global context for Jamaica. I explain this to you in a way that you can understand immediately. Ever so often, you will see videos of policemen in our urban centers trying to enforce public order, whether it is with taximen or vending. And they get into confrontation with people who are not properly parked, with people who are vending on the streets. Batons are drawn, guns are drawn, fights happen, and there have been, unfortunately, injuries and deaths. But think of it. Is the problem a security problem or an urban planning problem? Are we asking the police to police a poorly planned urban space? So, the police gets a lot of blame for a lot of things, but the problem has to be looked at from a broader perspective. So we developed Plan Secure Jamaica, which includes how do we build proper urban spaces that have designated parking, designated places for vending, designated places, proper spaces for pedestrian activity. We need properly built townships. And we have started that. It's not going to be an overnight transformation. It takes time to plan out a city or a town and build it out. But just look at what is happening in Morant Bay. You're going to have the first purpose-built urban center I have done the full research on it to see which town was actually purpose-built in Jamaica. Maybe there was, and I will report at another event what my research shows. I mean, yes, there have been, Black River, you could say Spanish Town, even parts of Negril, parts of Ocho Rios, Spanish Town. But in recent times, where you've just built a town, and this is the town where your commercial activity and your domestic and other activities will take place. That is going to assist when we replicate this right across Jamaica in how citizens relate with the police. It will assist with the security issue. So we developed Plan Secure Jamaica to look at all elements of the security issue. Another part of the problem is the whole business of violence. Now, we have something called, in Jamaica, organized violence. Listen, you can have organized crime, and there is no violence. Our organized criminals choose to use violence, even when it is not necessary. And so you can't just merely say, the response of the police breaches human rights and criticize the police in unfair and unjust ways. And I am not here saying that the police does not have a higher duty to maintain and protect human rights. What I'm saying is that we have a deeper problem of organized violence and even domestic unorganized violence in the society. We have a violence problem. So the solution is not just in the JCF. The solution is, what are we doing in our schools? What are we doing in the justice system to promote conflict resolution and mediation? And all of those are things that we are currently doing. But what are we doing, again, with the legal system to target gangs that produce violence? And we have been doing that. So the strategy is a comprehensive, a very broad strategy. But let's look at the JCF itself. If you're going to build an institution, the first place you want to start is with the leadership. You have to develop a doctrine, a culture, and since 2016, we have done, I would say, a spectacular job in transforming the culture and doctrine and leadership of the JCF. Without question, the officer corps of the JCF stands head and shoulder and several inches above the rest in the region. No question. When you look at the talent pool that exists in the JCF across several fields, it is amazing. And that core of leadership will permeate through the organization to the rank and file. It is going to take time. I'm not here telling you that every single officer you meet is imbued with this sense of leadership and responsibility and is a defender of the highest integrity of the organization. There are some people in the JCF who should not be there. But I'm certain that the leadership is working through a process to filter them out and to bring in persons who fit and match the organizational ideology and doctrine. And that is what we are doing in the recruitment process. And every month, country may not know this, and I probably should say it, every month I get a report on the recruitment process. I don't get it from the commissioner. I get a report from MOCA on the filtering process of the technology that is used in, we call it, I say lie detector, but the appropriate term, polygraphing. That all of the people who join the force and who are promoted go through an intensive process of polygraphing. And as I'm speaking on that, Minister, I should also explain to the country that we have established to monitor this broad approach to national security, a National Security Council, with an office of the National Security Council, which we will shortly present a National Security Act. And that looks at security from a comprehensive point of view. So we look at security from customs. We look at security from the anti-corruption perspective. We look at security from cyber. We look at security from telecommunications. We look at security from finance. All elements that could threaten the safety and security of the state. And we meet every month and we go through it. And that is how we manage Plan Secure Jamaica. Now, we can always talk about good policies. And what I've been talking about here is policy. What are some of the policy changes that we have made? So for example, we've taken a policy decision that if we're going to improve the organization, we have to also improve the spaces in which our police officers work, but more importantly, the spaces in which the public comes to interact with the police. And we have made some significant investments in spaces. We have taken policy decisions about increasing and improving the JCF's access to technology. Never before done. We have taken decisions about the mobility of the JCF. And of course, we have taken a decision about how the JCF looks, how they present themselves to the public. The uniforms look sharp. So from 2016 to present, we have spent some serious funds. I mean, I'm seeing here that on vehicles, we have gone $4.87 billion. I just wanted to go back and check, and even if you were to correct it for inflation, no other government has spent that much on mobility. But yet there are still police stations, when I visit, they say, boss, you can't tell them to send up a car. We're still not where we should be. We're a significant way, but not where we should be yet. And that is because for the last 30 years, there has been significant disinvestment, meaning that the equipment that you have had, we are replacing it at a far slower and lower quality than what you had before. So the accumulation of your capital stock is not keeping pace with the demands that is required of you. That's disinvestment. And why disinvestment? I'm not going to go into that, the politics and the economy and so forth, which the people need to pay attention to, because somehow there's a disconnect. They believe that the economy doesn't tie into the progress of the society and the ability to deliver the things you need. This big disconnect, which is why I'm making this presentation, ministers, so that people make the connection that you need good government to run a good economy to be able to deliver the things that empower you to do your job. So in the next 3 years, we are projected to spend $8.7 billion on the capital accumulation of vehicles for your mobility. In terms of the renovation of stations, just minor repairs and so forth, in the last, from 2016 to now, we have spent $2.7 billion, and we expect to spend another $2.7 billion on renovations. But on capital now, meaning on new stations, new constructions, construction projects, we spent $5.52 billion on building new stations. And I've gone around the country and seen some in all over. We have built new stations in Portland. We're doing one now in West Rural, all over. We're building new stations. But we expect to spend $19.7 billion in the next 3 years on new stations. Of course, that figure is huge because that 19.7 would include the massive station in Westmoreland, this one, and specialized ops, the C5 Center, which I'll speak about a little bit, all kinds of new exciting things that will, if you think that the police force has transformed now, wait until you see it in the next 3 years. Right? On tech, we have spent $3.9 billion from 2016 to now, and in the next 3 years, we will spend $10.9 billion, yes, on tech. So, in all, from 2016, we have spent $14.4 billion on your capital side of your budget. This is not now what we spend on national security as a global consideration, just what we have spent on the JCF. And it is still not enough. And that is because of the years of this investment. So, you know, when a prayer is sent up for a building for the Federation, it's under consideration. It's something that, obviously, if we can do it within the capital constraints and the priorities that we set, it's something that we would consider. Right? So the issue for us is how do we keep the economy growing so that we can get the capital budget without borrowing and then put that capital budget into a process that moves very quickly, that ensures accountability, eliminates any hint of corruption, and delivers something that is sustainable and transformational. So in the next 3 years, we will spend $39.3 billion on the capital budget of the JCF to improve the JCF. So we have covered leadership, we have covered the equipment and the capital, and of course now we depend on the JCF now for practice. What are the systems that you're going to put in place? And I urge the JCF that as we are making the investment in the capital, we're giving the strategic leadership, we cannot interfere in the JCF's operational duties. Tactics and operations, that is your commissioner's domain. We give guiding policy. We bring to them the concerns of the people. But at the end of the day, you have to take the resources that we give you and use them wisely. So we don't dictate to the police where a car must go. So even when they come to me and say, "Boy, this police station don't have," and that, I say, all right, let me ask the commissioner. But I can't pick up the phone, as many people think. Or rather, let me put it this way, I don't pick up the phone and give instructions. I don't pick up the phone when a policeman would come to me and say, "Boy, the promotion." Because those are operational matters. Right? And if you really want the police force to grow and shine and become the force that we are all proud of, these established rules that divide the labor and divide the effort for proper working, then we must observe them. And so those are well observed by me and my administration. So yes, there are concerns have been raised about the policy as to how persons are promoted and so forth. What we stress is transparency, and efforts must be rewarded. Our police officers must get exposure to training that would put them in line for promotion. We believe in a merit-based system. Those are the policy directions that we give. And so far, what I have seen is that is what is being executed as a general policy. But we can't get involved in the, that's operational stuff. And we have every confidence in the commissioner that he will lead the force to ensure that there is a high level of motivation. A couple of things in closing. I'm from Spanish Town. I was born in Spanish Town. I love Spanish Town. It is a place of such great history and potential. It pains my heart to see the buildings deteriorating and the Georgian buildings just disappearing. So much history and culture there that could be made of value. But the town, historically, for a long time, has been overrun, taken over by criminal gangs that are really strangling the town for its true potential. For us to take back the town, the JCF will be an important element of that strategy. But it is not the criminals that we need to get out of the town. More so, it is the people we need to get on the side of the police. Because the criminals have interwoven themselves into the fabric that they have protection and safe haven. But if we can get the people there to see that the police will guarantee their safety and their security, that the police is their friend, that the police will create an environment where everybody can thrive, then that fabric will unravel and the gangs won't feel safe there. So we have to build the relationship with the community. And the first thing you want to do is to provide the people with the necessary public services so that they feel a part of the state. And that is why we have made this massive investment in literally building a new Spanish Town hospital. I mean, we're putting up a new wing, but it's literally almost a new hospital being built. Then we're going to do the police station. We have some investments to make in some roadways there, including the approach to the Spanish Town. We have to figure out how we're going to change that small bridge that has been there for such a long time. There are some communities there which are very old communities. I can call Hampton Green, Ensom City, all of these areas where the infrastructure is deteriorating, that we need to intervene for their roads and their water. So there is a plan about how we're going to take back Spanish Town, and there is an important security element to the plan. Now, as we are talking about this, others are seeing it. And so there are persons who are making investments in Spanish Town quietly. They are buying up land, they are doing developments because they see, the general public may not see it, but the investors who have a keen eye see what is going to happen to Spanish Town. There are 520,000 persons live in St. Catherine. That's the second largest concentration of the population. So even if we were to get a 20% reduction in murders, and we sustain that for the next 5 years, and we eliminated the gang, you would see Spanish Town go through a growth phase that previously you would consider unimaginable. And that is what we're going to do. Strategically, we're going to retake Spanish Town from the criminals. So I want to commend the police for the work that they have been doing. They have taken out one character called Devil. I don't know how somebody could. And I know that they have others that they are on their radar that they are working on. My advice to the criminals, just leave. Just put down your gun and leave, because the police is going to get you. 1 by 1, 2 by 2, and I'm certain you're going to hear 4 and 5. And you're doing it in a way that is lawful, protecting the innocent, whilst ensuring that we bring those persons who are breaking the law, those persons who are organizing violence, we bring them before the courts. So with those words and my comments, it gives me great pleasure to participate in the contract signing, which is the first important stage in the actual construction. In another couple of weeks, I'm sure, Minister Chang will organize the groundbreaking, where I will have another similar presentation to make. God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, for reminding us that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is an institution that we should all be proud of. Also to remind us that no society can prosper and flourish without law and order. And of course, I observed the Prime Minister during the presentation, and I just have to make this point that usually when you're spending money, you're kind of not so happy. But when the Prime Minister said, we're spending, today is an exciting day, and more excitement to come because we're spending 19-point-something billion dollars. That to me represents our Prime Minister commitment to supporting safety and security. So at this point, we're going to do some reconfiguration. I'm going to use my chairman privilege for a moment to just give a little instructions over there to some very senior people, because we are going to make a little adjustment to facilitate the signing. And the signing will be done by the following persons. We will have our permanent secretary, Mrs. Stoneroof, will sign. That signature will be witnessed by our Minister, Dr. Chang. We will have Mr. Meledo from Wiccan, who will sign, and that will be witnessed by your Managing Director. So we're going to ask those persons to come forward. And the persons that seated at the head table, who I did not call their names, I'm going to ask you to just stand to the back. I'm going to invite Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn to just come and stand in the background. I'm also going to invite my senior officers here on the front row to come and stand up front to see the officers. Well, we need to balance it. So I understand that Commissioner will be keeping a keen eye on the signing, so we now will go ahead and make it official. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together. We can all say that we have witnessed the signing of the contract to commence the new police station. Thank you very much. So we hear that there will be more ceremonies. So thank you very much. And we will meet at the groundbreaking ceremony. You are now invited to refreshment around the corner.